Hello, good afternoon. This is David Stowe talking to you. Today is my weekly trade predictions for the upcoming trading week of August 19th through August 23rd. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the major currency pairs and I'm going to look at the past week and see what has happened this past week and kind of give you an analysis based on different higher time frames on what I feel that the market is going to be doing this coming week. Okay, so if we look at to begin with, I want to look at Euro USD. Okay, and we actually see that it actually has dropped. Now, I did predict last week that it would form a ranging market, and it should form like a slight uptrend. So it actually did the opposite, slightly the opposite of what I thought it would do. So that means that the U.S. dollar is stronger, okay, than I predicted. Now, if you go here to like USDCHF, you should see the inverse, okay? You see the US dollar actually gaining, okay, this past week, all right? USD Japanese yen was just ranging, and so is USD Canadian dollar. So not all the USD pairs are going to go up, all right? But we do see like pound USD gained, and Australian US dollar was pretty much in a range of motion, okay? A range of market here, moving in a sideways fashion. So not all these currency pairs behave the same because they're all fighting to take the lead, okay? So right now the euro is probably the weakest of all the different major currency pairs because it has actually dropped, while all the other pairs seem to be moving in a sideways or range in motion, okay? So that's kind of a key thing to note, okay? Now, what do I think is going to happen this coming week? We look at H4, okay, and look at the H4 time frame, we see that we had dropped off, right, and kind of hit a level of support here, and it's bouncing back up again, all right. But if I draw a trend line coming down like this, all right, we see that it's hit a level of resistance, and it's most likely going to keep going down, simply because we don't have a blue up arrow yet on Euro USD. So I feel that this week you're going to see a drop, at least in the first part of the week. You're going to see a drop in Euro USD, okay? But if we look at the higher time frames, we have an up arrow, and in the weekly we have an up arrow as well, okay? Seems like I predicted last week. So long term, it's definitely going to be going up, okay? But in the short term, you're going to see a drop. So this past week was definitely not good for the euro, but everything that goes down eventually comes back up, and vice versa, okay? So I do feel that even though it's in a slight downtrend right now, this will definitely be going up. So for me, I would definitely not be looking to sell. I would be looking for buy opportunities only. You know, you may have to wait a day or two for a strong buy, but once you get that strong buy, at least in the 4-hour, then hop in on trade, okay? Moving on to pound USD, we see here on GBPUSD that it actually gained some this past week, okay, which is pretty good. This means that the Great British Pound is in a rebound and is heading back up. If we look at the H4, okay, we look at the 4-hour chart, we see that we are definitely in an uptrend, okay? And if we look at the daily, same thing, right? And the weekly is just starting to go in uptrend. So long term, the Great British Pound USD is definitely going to be going up, okay? If you want, I feel that it is definitely a good time to buy and hold, and just hold it for like a week or two if you want, okay? Now, moving on to Australian dollar, US dollar, we see that it's pretty much in a flat range in market. We have some highs and lows, which is okay. And that's actually a good time to trade like this. I would probably, I would say use a 15-minute chart, but it's already on 15. But even a 30-minute chart is okay for when you're in a range of market if you want to trade. All right. But now let's look at some of the higher time frames, okay? If you look at the 4-hour, it shows that it wants to go up, right? And the same with the daily. All right. So long term, and this goes back to what I already said last week, but long term, the Australian dollar, US dollar is definitely going to be going up, okay? It's just right now, both these currencies, the Australian dollar and the US dollar, are really, really neck to neck. They're really, really fighting each other to gain strength. So you're kind of in a deadlock right now, okay? So what do I think is going to be happening this week? I think we're probably going to see more of a range of motion, range of market, a continuation of what we saw this past week. But long term is definitely going up. So even if it's in a range of market, I would try to focus on buy opportunities only. Okay, so keep that in mind. Australian dollar, US dollar, buy. Okay, so that's what I recommend this week. Moving on to US dollar, Swiss franc. Okay, we see that this had actually gained this past week. Okay, which means that the dollar is still strong. The dollar has been, probably always will be, the strongest currency in the world. All right, and even if the US dollar is long term is going down, it's still going to have its periods of surge where it wants to go up, okay? Because other currencies are not doing so well, all right? So we see that it went up, but the question is it going to go back down? And more than likely, it probably will. If you see on the 4-hour chart here, okay, let me shift the chart, it shows that it wants to go up, okay? It has not formed a red arrow yet, and more than likely you probably will see a continuation this week of an uptrend. All right, the daily shows up, but the weekly shows down. All right, so what does that mean? All right, I kind of showed this last week. If we draw a downtrend right here, okay, we have this slope coming down on the weekly chart. But on the daily, if we switch it back to the daily, we see we have an uptrend right here. So what I feel is that this is on the daily now. We're going to see the next few days, this price is going to go up. And it's going to hit this trend line and come back down. Okay, I really, really feel that's what's going to happen. I cannot predict the future, but it's going to at least hit the trend line. Now, if it breaks this trend line, then we're going to have a long uptrend, long-term uptrend, okay? But I would definitely be looking for buy opportunity this week, okay? With USDCHF, look to buy. Matter of fact, you probably could just go ahead right now and just buy and hold it long-term, okay? Now, moving on to USD Japanese yen. Also, this is kind of in a flat range in market. And if we look at some of the higher time frames, like the 4-hour, we see that it wants to go up. All right, and same with the daily. And this has been fighting to go up for quite some time. So if we look at the weekly, we have an uptrend right here. But what was the monthly? Okay, here we go. The monthly is showing a downtrend still. There's no up arrow. So if we draw a downtrend like this, all right, now I'm not saying this is 100% accurate, but that's a pretty solid trend line right there. It's a level of resistance, okay? And if we draw a flat horizontal line right here, we see that this level of support has been hit numerous times, right? And let me zoom in a bit so you can see this. So what this signifies is that this is called a fallen wedge. All right. Now, long term, this is going to be dropping. But what I think is going to happen is, let me resize this chart. If you look at the daily, okay, I think this price is going to go up and touch this trend line or come really close to it and come back down again. And what's going to happen, if I go to, let me go to the weekly, what's going to happen is it's going to come up, touch this trend line, come back down, come back up again, and then break out and form a long uptrend. Okay, so right now for this week, however, you definitely want to be looking for buy opportunities. All right, I would think that this is going to go up probably at least 500-600 points and come back down again. Okay, so more likely than not, we're going to see a range in market. But the fact that the market is bullish right now, I would definitely be looking for buy opportunities only. So at least in the beginning of the week, I feel that it is very, very safe to buy and wait for the red arrow and close. Okay, I would not sell, although you probably could, but I would look for buy opportunities only. That's just me. All right. Now moving on to U.S. dollar, Canadian dollar, we kind of see the same thing, right? This is in a pretty much a flat range of market. The price ended almost where it began this past week. And if we look at the H4 4-hour chart, we see that it wants to go down, right? But the U.S. dollar has been pretty strong as compared to other currencies. And if we look at the daily, we show an uptrend, and the weekly shows a downtrend, and the monthly shows a downtrend. But based on the daily, it has not formed any red arrows yet. So if I draw a uptrend like this, all right, what I feel is going to happen is that this is going to drop in the beginning stages of Monday, and it's going to retrace and going to keep going up. It's probably going to form a red arrow somewhere around this level. Okay, maybe not exactly, but it's going to form a red arrow somewhere around there, probably around the middle of the week. And then we're going to have a big drop in price. So think in the beginning of this week as the price to go up, and then towards the end of the week, around Thursday going to Friday, you should see this price drop off. All right, and then going into next week, the following week, we should see a long downtrend. All right, starting to emerge. So that's all kind of, impossible to predict at this point, but based on what I'm seeing here right now, I felt this is definitely going to be going up this week. So for this week only, I would look for buy opportunities. Okay, going into next week, I would probably look for sell opportunities if this resistance is hit and this support level here, this trend line is broken. Once this trend line is broken, that is when you want to sell. Okay, so but for right now, only focus on buying. All right, US dollar, Canadian dollar. Okay, so that is my trade predictions for this week of the major currency pairs. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments. Feel free to reach out to me on Facebook. There is a link below in the description of this video for my personal Facebook account. Okay, you can contact me there. Also, there is a link below for my private Facebook group, and you can post any questions or comments in my Facebook group, and this way myself or other traders can assist you. Okay, so thank you, and just let me know if you have any questions, and I'll be more than happy to help you. Okay, have a good day.